revoilà avec la partie workshops de notre événement qui sera répartie en deux. Un premier workshop sous le thème du web avec Monsieur Dhassi et un deuxième avec Monsieur Msassi traitant le sujet de la cryptographie. Commençons donc notre premier workshop concernant le web avec Monsieur Samad Dhassi, ingénieur sécurité et penetration tester chez ARHS Spikeseed. Vous avez la parole, Monsieur Dhassi.
Thanks very much, Rita. I'm very happy to be with you here. As Rita said, I'm working as a penetration tester. Recently, I changed the company, and I'm currently working as a team leader, always in penetration testing. In this presentation, I will share with you the things I wish I learned when I was a student at your age. We'll see how you can skyrocket your career by giving it an initial speed and taking full advantage of your years at the university. So first of all, who am I? I'm currently working as an offensive team lead and penetration tester in Luxembourg. I'm a bug bounty hunter at HackerOne mainly. I was a triage analyst at HackerOne. I am the maintainer of the hackerish.com, a blog which contains many content related to hacking. I also recently wrote a book, A Bug Bounty Hunting Journey, which is a short story about a bug bounty hunter who tries to overcome her limits and become a successful bug bounty hunter. I have a YouTube channel, and you can find me at Twitter, The Hackerish. So the agenda for today is to first discover or go through some key moments in my infosec career. And then based on my experience, I can give you ways to optimize your career path in information security. Specifically, we will discover how we can learn online. And throughout this presentation, I will try to do some demonstrations for you. So this is the timeline in a nutshell. In 2012, I did an internship as a penetration tester in Morocco, and to be honest, I didn't understood a word about how to do penetration testing, but it set me up to start learning this amazing field. And this is where I started learning from books and reading books, etc. Meanwhile, I was also a member of the CIT club, and we did some we had a class about penetration testing or ethical hacking, but I just attended 2 or 3 times. It wasn't serious, and the instructor didn't have all the time, so it wasn't sustainable. So after that, I graduated as a security software engineer. Not security, just software engineer. And I co-founded a startup which still exists today. It's called Sayu. Me and a bunch of my friends. So mainly we did develop some solutions to clients based on latest technologies. At that time, we worked with Angular JS. Once when it was in its first version, we tried our best to deliver high quality products. And I was working mainly as a front-end developer. Next, in 2015, I started working at the Ministry of Justice as a network and security engineer. And this is where I sort of went back to security, because from 2012 to 2015, I didn't work really on security. So this is where I started learning hacking and trying to discover as many fields as possible about this industry. Later, 2 years, I got certified, offensive security certified professional, which is a prestigious certification and also an entry-level certification in the penetration testing world. And shortly after that, I started working as a triage analyst for HackerOne. Before that, I was also a bug bounty hunter. So I also wanted to discover what goes behind the curtains of the bug bounty platform. And it was a really rich experience. And from there, I did start a position as a penetration tester in Luxembourg for Aris Spikeseed. I was doing penetration testing of web applications, mobile applications, some infrastructure, also Active Directory hacking, etc. And lately, like when I was working at Aris, I also created a blog called thehackers.com. You can visit it. It's open to the public, and it contains some various content about ethical hacking, mainly web application testing at the moment, with some content about bug bounty hunting as well. And in early 2021, I finished writing the book of bug bounty hunting, and I switched to an offensive team lead position, where I manage a team of penetration testers while doing penetration testing as well and developing some new services for the company I work in. So from what you see, you might think that it's I did big achievements, maybe not, but personally, I think I could have done better, mainly in the early years. Let me see if I can choose a laser pointer here. So as you can notice, I started learning hacking after I graduated in 2015. And this set me up to get my certification and then open my career to in bug bounty hunting, triage analyst, and becoming a penetration tester, doing this mainly full time. So I guess that this was the critical point. The starting to learn hacking was the game changer for my career. And the thing is, I discovered this later. So the objective of this presentation or this workshop, if you could just have one advice, is to start learning hacking as early as possible. Take advantage of the years that you have in the university. So mine was, I started in 2011. So imagine that if I had 3 years of mainly learning hacking and maybe doing entry-level certification, that would shorten my career path even more. So based on my experience, to optimize your career path, here are the 3 things that you should do. I categorize them into 3 categories. The first one is to first start learning the basics. You can't really become an ethical hacker or a penetration tester if you don't know the basics. And to do that, I advise you to first choose the right field in your learning path in your university. Back when I was in 2011, we had specialties in the 3rd year. I'm not sure if it's the case now. I've heard that IBT has introduced a lot of reform in its curriculum. So currently, I think that there is a branch specialized in cybersecurity. So I think that would be the best candidate. And then you also have software engineering with all the latest trends like DevOps and cloud. etc. So this could also be another candidate. And you also have something like systems. I believe it was called RSS, but now it's something else. But anything related to building and designing systems and networks. So these fields are important because often we say that the best hackers are the best developers or the best system administrators because you already know what's going behind the scenes. And a big part of an ethical hacking or an ethical hacker skill set is to be able to understand how the system works. And then you can try to see how to bypass limitations, assumptions, and find vulnerabilities. So once you find the right field, then you will start to see that what you learn for yourself and what you learn in the university converge together. They are not two separate things. And this will give you some momentum. The second thing is to learn from peers. We have a lot of great clubs in many universities, and usually we have intercommunications between those clubs in the form of events such as these. So definitely take advantage of that and try to discover what others are doing and learn from your peers. The third thing is to learn online. And I would highlight this point because while the first 2 points depend on other areas like other things, for example, you need to find the right field in the university. Sometimes the courses cannot really be that interesting, which is not the case in all the fields, but you might find yourself sitting in front of the professor without really being interested in what he's or she's saying. In the second point, you might have, like I said, some courses about ethical hacking, but the instructor might not be available all the time. In the contrast, learning online is always available, and this has definitely developed in the later years. Back when I was a student, it wasn't as developed as it is now. So definitely take advantage of that. And we will discuss how you can do that later on. The second pillar in your career path is to prove your value. So once you've learned the basics, then try to aim at getting certified. I know that certifications are not a full proof of your value, but nevertheless, when you and another candidate are going asking for a job and applying for a position, you would be much valuable if you had a certification compared to the other candidate. So things like offensive security certifications are well-respected ones, CH also. If you could do it just to have a entry-level certification, because a lot of hires in employers in Morocco are still considering it as a good certification. So definitely check that out. And in your free time, also try to do some bug bounty hunting, because that will try to introduce you to real world targets, not just the challenges or the CTF-like problems that you would solve when you are learning in the online platforms. So bug bounty hunting will also try to develop your writing skills and your intercommunication skills with the bug bounty program or the other teams who are triaging your reports, which is very valuable when it comes to the professional life. When you are working in the professional field, it's not just about finding bugs or being smart. It's also about knowing how to interact with people, how to have a good writing skill set. So those soft skills, bug bounty hunting can help you develop them. And at the same time, you will develop some kind of reputation. So you can add that to your CV, and people can go to your online profile on bug bounty hunting platforms, or visit your certification ID, or even go to the online platforms that you learned from during learning when you were working or learning the basics. And from there, they can infer that you have done some job in the past and you're not just aiming for that job without any experience. And this will give you a competitive advantage when you are going through the hiring process. As far as getting hired is concerned, you can start as a software engineer, and often I like to call it software developer, because you're not going to start as a software like architect or senior software engineer. You will start developing some bits, small pieces of code as a junior software engineer. So this is where you will start learning. I mean, this is where you should start learning how to write secure code, because later, when you want to become like an ethical hacker, you would already have an idea of the mistakes that developers make often. And the best bug bounty hunters that I found always have this insider view of how the developers make mistakes, and they take advantage of that, and they find really interesting bugs. Another path you could follow is to become a systems, or now it's more of a cloud engineer, because a lot of companies are going to the cloud. And if you are a good system administrator, if you know how to apply security principles, then it would be a good value when you want to become an ethical hacker, because once again, you already know what are the pitfalls and what are the errors that most system administrators or system engineers are making. And of course, the natural path is to maybe choose to become a penetration tester. There are a lot of companies in Morocco that are booming, and they provide good service, and they are hiring penetration testers. And there's also another trend, which is DevOps or DevSecOps, if you want to add the security layer to it. Which is also a good hot topic that you can follow if you want to start in the field of IT, but later converge to cybersecurity. So now we will focus on learning online, and I try to put here the main resources that you can take and learn from. So if you go to rootme.org, it's a French platform which has existed from some years ago, like maybe more than 10 years. And it provides a lot of things, but I think that it's most known for its mini challenges. This is ideal for people who want to discover or learn cyber security from an offensive side, like become an ethical hacker, but solve many challenges that will teach you only one thing. For example, if you want to learn more about cracking, then there's a whole category comprised of many mini challenges that will teach you, each one of them, how to become a better cracker. Same thing for web application security. If you want to learn what SQL injection is, definitely check out rootme.org. It will give you all the challenges that you can solve, and when you solve them, you will learn what is SQL injection in all its kind of forms. The second thing, the second platform is hackthebox.eu, and I'm citing them with order of the order I followed to in my learning experience. I started with rootme.org, and then hackthebox came out, and then tryhackme came out, etc. So hackthebox is more for boot to root challenges, and boot to root, if you're not familiar with that, it's when you boot a machine and then you try to root it. And by root it, I mean become the highest privileged user on that machine, which means compromising the entire machine. Rootme.org has some challenges which are kind of boot to root challenges, but Hack the Box is, I think, the best one because it provides always fresh, active machines. There's also tryhackme.com, which is a new platform, and it provides a lot of various services. And one of them, which I think is very cool, is the learning paths. So here you can follow a path. Like, for example, if you want to learn how penetration testing works, then there is a learning path for that. And you can start by solving some challenges and validating them. And then by the end of the learning path, you would have a better or clearer idea about what a penetration testing is. Shameless plug, thehackers.com is here just because there are two main things I want to highlight. The first one is the OWASP.10 lab, which I offer for free to everyone who wants to learn web application testing. So it's based on the two main web applications that are available on the internet, the OWASP WebGoat and the OWASP JuiceJob. These are two main web applications that I really encourage you to use in your learning path. There's also some content about bug bounty hunting, like what is bug bounty hunting in general and how you can become a better bug bounty hunter. Let me demonstrate some of those platforms to you so that you can discover them at your own time. Let me see if I can pull up. Okay, so the first platform is rootme.org. This is the website, and right here you have the challenges, which are divided into the categories that I talked about. So if we want, for example, to learn how buffer overflows work, then we can go to app system. And here you can find the different challenges based on their difficulty. And it highlights the challenges that you solved versus the ones that you've not. And as you go, things get a little bit more difficult. And for example, if you want to learn blind remote format string bug in a Linux system, then you can choose this challenge. Once you get in, it gives you the statement, what you are tasked, what is your task. For example, in this challenge, we need to get the flag in the .pass.ud file. And here are the protections that are applied or not to the environment. And then you have a set of resources. And this is a big feature of RootMe. For each challenge, you have a set of resources that you can learn from. And if you learn those, plus some of your personal work, you will be able to theoretically solve the challenge. In this case, you would connect to this host on this port and try to send some payloads, which will give you remote code execution. This is the ultimate goal of a buffer overflow. You can see here the web server, which contains all different kinds of web security vulnerabilities. And once you choose one, for example, a SQL injection error, then the same thing, you have the statement, and this is the resource that you can learn. And when you start the challenge, your task is to be able to retrieve the administrator password. So you start poking around and learning from the resources that you have, and ultimately you would solve the challenge and learn what SQL injection error-based is all about. If you are stuck, then you can engage with the community, which is the panel here. So you can either use the forums, which are also divided by the same categories as the challenges. And you can also talk directly to the members of RootMe via the IRC channel. There is a web access for that, so we don't need any setup. So all you have to do is just hit start, and then you're well, currently it says disconnected, but you should have access to a chat room where you can just post your message here, and then hopefully someone would answer you. So this is for RootMe. I really encourage you to give it a try. Like when you go back from school and you have dinner and you rest for some time, maybe you can gather with some of your friends and try to hack some challenges and learn along the way. The second platform is Hack the Box. And as I said, it's mainly used for boot to root challenges, and you can find them here. So the machines, if you go to all, here you can find a load of new machines. I believe that each machine has a window of 2 months before getting retired, which means it won't be available anymore. So if you want to enroll, if you want to hack those old machines, then you need to pay a subscription. But otherwise, you can learn from just the machines that you have. For example, here you have a delivery which says it's medium difficulty. And once you choose a machine, for example, laboratory, you have an idea of what are the areas that it's trying to cover. For example, this one is less about CTF and more about real life targets. So this indicates that you would mimic what a real target is vulnerable to. Also, you have the information about the operating system. In this case, it's Linux. You have a bunch of other metadata about that machine. When you connect to the platform, you need to download a VPN package that you can use to connect to this IP address. But before being able to log into the machine, to the platform, you need to solve a login challenge. But let me show you that real quick. But before that, I just want to show you the Pro Labs, which are essentially a set of machines. It's not just one machine, it's a network of machines that serve a purpose. For example, if you go to offshore, you can notice that it's a real-world enterprise environment with Active Directory. So if you want to experiment with that, you pay for the lab and then you hack it for as much time as you paid for. There's also another type of labs which is called Fortress, and these are sponsored by companies. So this lab, for example, is sponsored by Jet. So try to solve those challenges and maybe you can get hired at Jet. Well, let's redirect it to Walmart anyways. So if I log out, if you try to log in, you need to solve a challenge. It's not something really difficult. It's just a mini challenge to make sure that you are worth of, you know, hacking on Hack the Box. The next one is Try Hack Me, and in this platform you can log in without any problem. Sign up, create in your account and log in. And here you have, let me click on the main website. You have what we call rooms. So if you go to learn, you have rooms which cover many areas. And you can filter by operating system, by field, by difficulty, and etc. And once you, for example, if you want to learn how Metasploit works or how to use Nmap, then you click on that room, and then you have a set of mini steps that introduce you to the subject and allow you to use Nmap to try to understand how it works and how you can use it to discover services for a particular host. There are many features in Try Hack Me, but I think that this is the most basic one that you can get for free. And of course, you have the hackerish.com. Here you have two main guides. The first one is web application testing. So if you click on that, you have a somewhat long guide that will give you many resources that you can follow in order to understand what is the OWASP top 10. This is ideal for people who are just starting and want to learn more about web application security. And you can download the lab for free here. And it's completely hands-on, and you can spin it up locally in your machine and start hacking. And meanwhile, you can follow the OWASP top 10 training playlist, which I published in the YouTube channel. So just type the Hackerish and then you find the playlist. It goes through each vulnerability at a time, trying to explain how it works and how you can exploit it based on the lab that I provide here. All right, let's go back to our presentation. We don't have much time, but bug bounty hunting is a booming area where you can experiment with what you've learned, as I said in the early slides. So the workflow is straightforward. You first pick a platform. You pick a platform, choose whatever you want. There are many platforms. I just referenced some here for example, like HackerOne, Background. Yes, we have Integrity, and there's also Open Bug Bounty, which is open for everyone. Like companies don't have to pay you, but I think you are largely served by the amount of platforms that you get. Once you choose a platform, you can choose all of them. It doesn't matter. As long as you register an account, you pick a program inside that account, and you start hacking. And then if you find a vulnerability, if you've really done your learning right, if you have the basics, I think that you would be able to find vulnerabilities and earn money, which you can then use to get certified, get other subscriptions on other platforms to learn more. To give you an example, here are some reports which got disclosed at HackerOne. This one dates, it's just 2019, and it's about a stored cross-site scripting that targeted the MoPub bug bounty program. And here you find the summary, description, steps to reproduce. I mean, you can use that as well to learn from other bug bounty hunters how they write their reports, how they find those vulnerabilities, etc. This one got paid $700. This one is even later, like in 2020, and it's 5K. And it's about a SQL injection. So you might think that SQL injection is not a vulnerability. It doesn't exist anymore, but it still exists. So these are the reports, how they look in HackerOne. So once you file one, it should look like this one. If you go to HackerOne /hacktivity, then you can find a list of all the disclosed reports, and you can learn from them as well. So you really don't have any excuse whatsoever not to learn how to become a better ethical hacker in this age. One thing I want to mention is that bug bounty hunting sounds easy money, but it's not. You will find a lot of hurdles along the way. So just in conclusion, what I want to say is that don't waste your valuable time in university. Learn as much as you can. Start with the OWASP top 10 if you really don't have any clue what to learn. Practice on as many categories as you can on rootme.org. This way, it ensures that you have a better exposure to the different fields in cybersecurity. Information security is such a wild and big field that it's a big industry that you need to specialize in. And without having an exposure on the different areas, you wouldn't be able to choose a specialization path. So I encourage you to try to experiment with the different categories on RootMe, just to see where you fit in, where you feel that you really like the. For example, if you really enjoy cracking binaries, then you wouldn't waste your time learning web application security. You know, but sometimes you need to combine many fields, so always keep learning. Apply your knowledge on bug bounty programs. This way you will earn money, and you can use that money to learn even more. You can purchase subscriptions, access to restricted labs, and gain more momentum. You will face many problems. Just keep going. It's not an easy industry. It demands a lot of energy, a lot of effort. So just don't give up. Just keep going. And if you started in web application security like I did, try to expand beyond that. If you feel yourself like comfortable in web application, Try something like infrastructure penetration testing, something related to DevSecOps maybe. Just try to widen your expertise in the information security industry. I think we have maybe 5 minutes for the questions. So thank you. At the end, it's my motto: stay curious, keep learning, and go find some bugs.
Je tiens à vous remercier, Monsieur Thassi, pour votre passage enrichissant et pour le temps que vous avez accordé. C'était très intéressant et sans doute bénéfique pour nous. Pour les questions, je pense qu'il n'y a pas de questions pour le moment. Oui, tout était clair, je pense, et il n'y a pas de questions. Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Thassi.
Il n'y a pas de souci, avec plaisir.
Maintenant, on va faire une pause de 5 minutes pour passer au deuxième workshop avec Monsieur Msassi.